Welcome to TechMark Pod, where we innovate, discuss, and discover the dynamic intersection of technology and marketing. In each episode, we explore how businesses can leverage both to drive growth and innovation. Meet Alvin, our esteemed host for TechMark Pod. With over 15 years of experience as a renowned marketer, project manager, and software as a service architect, join us as we uncover the unique value proposition of integrating technology and marketing strategies, helping you stay ahead in this fast-paced digital world.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to TechMark Pod. So today I've got an exciting episode with Brian Chiware, who is from Zimbabwe. So before we start this episode, I just want to thank everyone for tuning into TechMark Pod. And this is the beginning of the year, 2026, and we're excited about the episodes that we're going to be having this year. And just for you to know, this episode has been sponsored by Symbol Digital Zimbabwe. So visit our website, symboldigital.co. There's the W, right? So Brian, what I did is I queried, AI to ask who's Brian Chiware, right? So that I get to know what AI says about you, right? So Brian Chiware is a Zimbabwe-based business analyst and certified project manager, specializing in FinTech, AI, human-centered design, bridging business needs with tech solutions. He frequently shares insights on LinkedIn about challenges in Zimbabwe's informal economy, tech adoption barriers like cash reliance, power issues, and the need of practical, user-focused innovation.
Okay.
Brian, welcome to TechMark Pod. What do you think about this bio?
I definitely think it covers quite a bit about me. It does cover quite a bit about me. I think what AI has access to right now is anything that is public. There is quite a lot that then goes on behind the scenes, but in terms of my public persona, that is pretty much just about it.
Is there anything that you want to add to that? Anything that has been missed or misrepresented?
Okay. I think basically it spoke about me in the context of being a business analyst. It obviously didn't speak a lot about me being also a digital marketing enthusiast, about me being an AI enthusiast as well. I'm doing a lot of traction in that AI space. Some of the writings that I do put outside there are to do with AI and how it is impacting the businesses that we do. And so I think it was a result from LinkedIn, and that basically I think the one that it referenced was one of my most popular articles, the one that I was definitely speaking about the challenges in tech adoption in Zimbabwe. But there is a lot more. I think we can get a lot more as we are going through the conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think let's start there. The challenges of tech adoption in Zimbabwe. Let's start there.
Okay. Where do I even start? Maybe to be true to my article. Sometime in I don't remember the actual year. I think it was just after COVID in 2022. We decided to design a solution for the SME sector. And the SME sector that we wanted to target was the most informal sector. That is the sector that is working in the markets in Bari and areas surrounding that area. So we definitely got in there. And from our analysis, we thought these guys are having problems with managing their records, managing their books, understanding their cash flow, all of those typical challenges that are solved by a digital ledger of sorts, right? And we went in there and tried to sell our solution. So what we got there and understood was that the solution that we had made works, but it works for a different environment, just not the one that we were trying to put it in. And it was a big lesson for me just to understand that you definitely need to have a bit of a marketing touch to it before you go to the technology. So like you'll see with the article that I'm releasing next week, you need to have a design-led development. It's not always about who has the best tech. I think now what AI has actually done is it has commoditized a lot of things. I think in the past, we used to be very proud of ourselves when you're saying, I know the best code, I write the best code. Now you can put it in cloud AI and it just does that for you. You don't even have to lift a finger. I was looking at someone who is not even in tech and they designed an app right in front of my eyes. So the tech adoption side in Zim is very market dependent. You can't bring in a solution that you think is from a different market and think it's just going to plug and play. In Zimbabwe, it doesn't work that way. It's a very different environment.
I think whilst you are discussing on adoption, do you think that the subscription model that they use in America and most of the SaaS applications, does it work in Zim seamlessly, or is it different kind of way because maybe there were different payment options that they need to integrate for that to work?
Okay, so I'll give you an example of the market that we have in Zimbabwe. It's a market that has failed to adopt online selling, like e-commerce itself. You know, the full scale e-commerce where you put your product online, someone pays for it online, and it's delivered to you. I think we've only managed to get some really good strides on that right now with food delivery mainly, but I think we still have a lot of challenges when it comes to, and some of it is rooted with the idea that as a market right now, we are very conscious of getting cash. We are a very cash conscious market. People just want their cash with them. So it becomes a very difficult thing to trust that the money has gone into an account or into a phone and my goods are actually going to come. So people would prefer to say, let me actually feel the goods, let me see the goods in real time. Maybe if it's a product, let me hold it and then actually understand that this is the real product and then pay cash. So it becomes the same attitude on the side of the sellers as well. The sellers want the cash. You get it. So in terms of the SaaS model, it becomes a very difficult place to implement SaaS because unless you are doing content delivery, like your Netflix. I think we have Netflix people are subscribing to Netflix. We have people subscribing to Spotify, Apple Music, the different channels that just deliver content. That is working. SaaS models for other products that are not directly delivering content is a bit difficult here because of the cash idea.
So it reminds me, in 2020, I started an e-commerce site selling groceries to Zim. It was a challenge. It was a big challenge.
Yeah.
So there's so many dynamics besides, I think one of the biggest things that you spoke about is the cash transactions. And our expectation was to say people are going to pay with cards, and then they'll get their products through to deliver to Zimbabwe from South Africa, which was a very challenging period. Yeah, I understand what you mean, and then I think one of your articles that really spoke to me was the project management article, right? I think you spoke about project management being a different ball game in Zimbabwe. It's not theoretical; it's more practical than what we think. Let's talk about the project management side of it.
Okay, so to reference that particular article that you're talking about, what I was speaking about is Zimbabwe being a very volatile environment. There's a word that people like to use. If you meet a lot of Zimbabwean business people, they like to use the term VUCA. It's a very old term, which means volatile, uncertain, and the C and the A mean different things. But all of it is just speaking to the volatility of the environment. So think about a project that you're part of, and you have written out your budget. You've done your budget. You're saying in the next 2 years we want to be spending this much, and to give you an interesting scenario, that budget is in local currency, right? 2 months down the line, you are in your project, everything's going well, and you wake up and the government just says, we are changing the currency and the main currency is now the USD currency. Whatever money that you had is being cancelled, is being dropped. We're probably changing the currency to a different currency. So there's an exchange rate that we're going to apply to all the money that you have in your bank accounts, in your budgets, etc. This means you have to actually go back to the drawing board. And in a typical market, in a typical good market, you don't have problems with currencies switching. That doesn't happen at all in a typical market. But it happens in Zimbabwe. Currency is a small problem. You can go for months without electricity when you had planned to do something that involves a lot of power. That means you have to actually try to do a lot of huge changes. So that article was basically speaking about how Zimbabwe sometimes forces you to change the mere fundamentals of your project planning, which is something that you don't get in a lot of matured markets. You don't get a lot of changes to fundamentals. You get changes to things like your schedule, delays in delivery from suppliers, vendors, third parties, or procurement issues, right? But you don't get fundamental problems that come through here.
So you're saying in a stable economy, we don't have economical factors affecting our project. But in Zimbabwe, it's a different story because of the economic situation, where then those affect project management basically.
Yes. So I wouldn't say in other factors affecting project. If you are to run a project for 5 years in a matured economy, you're definitely going to face issues like inflation. Inflation is a reality wherever you go. But that is not as bad as how you can get inflation in Zimbabwe. I remember, for example, when this current currency that we're using right now came out, it was about $1 to ZiG, I think, at the time.
Okay.
Just about a year later, when we are celebrating stabilization of the ZiG, I think the ZiG has been stable for some time. It's still quite high. It's like $1 to 30 plus, right? That's on the black market. I think on the official market, it's 20 something. But that's still quite a huge change. So if you're looking at it, that's like if you had done your budget with $1 S to 2 at the time, and then you are landing at $1 S to 20 something. Yeah,
That's a
$1
lot.
S to 30. That's a huge variance that you need to be calculating within your project management.
Okay. So besides the economical factors, are there any other practical examples of how project management might be different in Zim scenario?
Okay. I think Zim has a bit of a different setup. So I'll give you examples. I've done projects in the government side. I've done projects in the private sector side. And you'll find that the government side is a bit more bureaucratic than I would prefer. I'm not very cognizant of a lot of countries, but we have done some projects across the SADC region. And some countries are definitely easier than others, right? So you find that the bureaucracy that you have to go through, I think only recently did we get to a point where we now reduce the number of business licenses that you need to have for you to actually run a business in Zimbabwe. I think that happened towards the end of last year. But before that, for someone to run a business in Zimbabwe, it would need you to get like 20 something different licenses, especially if you're going to be doing your business at a fixed abode, right? So that would involve the environmental management agency, whatever. If you're going to get backup power, you need to get a license for the generator. So it involved quite a lot. So only recently have we managed to get that to be less and less, right? So besides the economic space, you also have the regulatory space that makes it quite a bit difficult for projects to run, and a lot of policy changes that just happen overnight in the regulatory space. So those are some of the other challenges.
Let's talk about FinTech. You said you're working on FinTech and you have had experience on FinTech, right? So from our side, as Simple Digital, as a MarTech company, we do have I don't know if I can call it a fintech kind of solution, but it's not really a fintech kind of solution, but it's a revenue assurance solution for the banks. I need to know more about the fintech environment in Zimbabwe. Tell me about your experience.
Okay, so I'll tell you like this. The fintech environment in Zimbabwe is being driven from multiple places. So you have the financial institutions. So you have the banks, right? You have the banks, you have the microfinance institutions, basically the people that RBZ knows, right, directly. Those people have gone in, they've opened their own fintech spaces. I think, the most popular ones are probably the FBC, which is the Sarani space. I think Old Mutual has opened its own fintech space. Most banks are basically trying to get into the fintech space on their own. Then you have the space by third parties, or what would typically be startups, right, in the economy. You have companies in Zim who are doing a lot of work in the fintech space, but most of that work is aligned to the banks, right? I think the major sector that really took off is the mobile money space. It really took off on its own tangent. It has nothing to do with the banks, even though policy had to shift for it to be regularized so that there is a bit of depositor protection there, which is why people had to get a bank account that is linked to the EcoCash banks and etc. Right? So you have the mobile money space that took off on its own, and now that space is getting in with a lot more people. I think you have your Inbucks that came in, you have your Omari, which is an old mutual product that came in into the fintech, into the mobile money fintech space. But fintech as a tech space to me, is still quite a bit lacking, because most of our financial transactions are sitting on systems that are supported by international companies. I'll give you an example of would I say most? All of the banks in Zim really are using core banking systems that are supported by people who are outside. So some of those major transactions that we really want to be driving the fintech space are sitting on infrastructure and software that is driven or that is supported by people who are outside. So if you're going to get in, I'd say you have the remittance space, which is the remittance space, the sending money from outside to Zimbabweans,
Yeah.
getting people in the diaspora to send money to Zim. You have the mobile money space. The mobile money space is open for everyone, but I think the market is also trying to start shrinking there. You have like I was saying, we are playing in the digital credit space. That's also a market that is growing on its own on a different tangent. But we also then have to rely quite a lot on the banks, because you want surety of getting your money back. Since people want to do in cash, it's very difficult for you to get money back. There's always something that we say is, it's very easy for me to give you credit, but it's very difficult for me to get the money back. I don't know if you get what I mean. Anyone can go and
Yeah.
open a fintech that gives people money,
True.
right? We can all do that. But for you to then run a fintech that gets the money back to the investors,
That's a challenge.
that's the challenging part there. I think that's in all markets. Becomes more difficult in Zimbabwe because people don't want to use their mobile money wallets. If I get money in my mobile money wallet, I want to get it out and have it as cash for no reason. Just for the fact
For
that
no
in the
reason.
past, people have been burned. People
Yeah,
have been burned
yeah. I hear
for
you.
having money
So everyone wants
in
to keep
their
their money
accounts.
under the pillow, the better.
Yeah. So the better
I
keep it
know.
under your sofa.
I like under the
I'm not
sofa.
talking about anyone,
If you know, you
but
know.
that's a
But anyway, uh, so you speak a lot about human centered. design, right? What inspired you to shift to human-centered design, and how has it shaped your work-bridging business needs with tech in Zim?
No, I think we spoke a bit about it initially when we were talking about
Yeah,
how you should be designing for the market, right?
yeah.
Human-centered design is basically just sort of a risk management strategy of sorts, because what you want to do is you want to build with the person who is going to use the platform in mind. I don't know if you get what I mean. Um,
Mhm.
who is the end user, all right? Who is the end user? Who are the other users of that platform? And how do we get our design to be reflective of their needs, of their actual needs? Because sometimes we do a lot of, I do a lot of documentation of people's requirements, right? And if you
Yeah.
document someone's requirements today, you might come back with your document after all reviews have been done, internal reviews, the designs, the drawings have been done. You come back with your document and someone is saying, this is not what I meant. Or you come back with a system that is based on those requirements and someone is saying, no, this is not what I meant. So that's why we're slowly trying to shift towards human-centered design, because this is where you do your rapid prototyping. You come up with a
Mm.
prototype, you get the user to actually start using something. You put it in front of the user, you see how they, and you design the user experience around the person instead of making it about the person. So it's either around the person or it's about the person. And that's what a lot of systems are. They're about you. If you see a lot of systems that we interact with day to day, they talk to you like you are the other third party extension instead of it being about you as a person. Because the system should feel like it's yours, right? You should look at a platform and then feel like, oh, this is actually made for me, and this is speaking to me, and this is solving my problems. And part of that is how do you make someone's problems pop up, right? um, I'll give you a typical example of how it looks like to lack human-centered design. You have a banking app, right? And then the moment that I get into the banking app, if it's going to take me 3, 4 taps to just know my bank balance, it's already failing as a it's already failing in terms of user experience. I need to get in there, and you need to know what people want, right? So that
Mm.
involves tracking the taps. If you actually put an app out there, you need to track what people are clicking on. What is it that people are trying to look at within my app? What is it that people are using? And what are some useless features? Because there's a lot of programs, softwares, and apps that have a lot of useless features, right? And we keep them in there because we don't really track. We don't really track what people are doing in our software. And that's what human-centered design is about. It's about knowing what Alvin wants, right? What Alvin is trying to achieve. What problems does he have? If I open my banking app, I obviously probably want to transact. So the first thing that I should know is how much do I have? Yeah. And is it going to be enough for the transaction that I want to do? I don't think people open banking apps to have fun. Especially in markets like especially in markets like Zimbabwe. People open their banking app per month end on month end when they want to transfer to someone who's going to give them how much do I have and how many US.
I hear you very well. I think
Yeah.
I agree with you. So I think it dawned to me a couple of years ago, and I always say developers develop for robots and marketers develop for people, you know.
Yeah.
And um, I want to know, at what stage and at what point did you realize the importance of marketing in tech?
Okay. So I went to the University of Zimbabwe. I'm a computer science major. So I completed
Yeah.
my computer science degree some years ago. And once I completed that, the first thing on my mind was I need to go in, I need to build a super app, and I need to sell it and make a lot of money from SaaS, right? That's the story that you tell yourself when you're in school before you actually get into the
Yeah,
market.
yeah, definitely.
Before you actually get into the market. Um, One thing that I learned when I got into the market is doing nothing is a solution, right? We always say we want to solve people's problems, right? Think
Yeah.
about that. When you're trying to build a solution, you're like, I need to solve people's problems, right? People have problems, they need solutions to those problems. But sometimes doing nothing is also a solution. You get it?
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
your competition. Yeah, that's your first competition as a marketer. How do you get someone from doing nothing about the problem that you think is a problem to doing something, right? That's when I realized, oh, I actually need some marketing thinking here. It's no longer just about the technology, because at that stage I could code. I was actually a very good coder at the time, in the developer, but I didn't know what people actually wanted. So you'd end up doing something and people don't use it. Then you're like, oh, what is going to happen here? They didn't teach us this
I
in
think
school.
I think you called them beautiful and unused systems. Is that what you said?
Exactly. And that's not there in your computer science degree. I did my computer science degree. It's not there. They don't teach you how people are going to adopt your product. They don't. But they
Yeah.
do teach that in marketing. So that's where in marketing, that's where you learn about targeting people, getting to understand people's problems, getting them to get onto the platform. And that's when I understood that, oh, there's actually a synergy that I need to get here. In as much as I'm doing the tech side, I actually need to do the business requirement side. That's how I then said, oh, an intersection for me was the business analysis side,
Mm.
which is why I said I'm now going to become a business analyst and try to understand more of the business. While least I know I already have my tech mind, but I need to understand what people want. So that instead of designing for robots, like you are saying, I design for people.
Yep. Definitely. You need to design for people. I love it. Let's talk about AI, right? We can't close this conversation without talking about more about
It can't be
AI.
2026. It can't be
Yeah.
2026 if you don't talk about
So
AI.
let's talk about AI in fintech solutions and adoption of
Mhm.
AI. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think what is the rate of adoption? What do you see as the rate of adoption in Zimbabwe? And I'm talking about the fintech solutions, not in a general terms, basically.
Okay. I don't think I can put a number.
Mm.
What I've seen is Zimbabwe is an AI infant. Zimbabwe is at a stage where a lot of people know AI as ChatGPT. You get it? There are
Mm.
people who I talk to and they say, I prefer to use ChatGPT and not AI. You get it? But then you don't understand that ChatGPT is actually also part of the AI
The
solution,
AI.
which means
Yeah.
there's a lot of interpretation that is being left at the table, where people will say we have adopted AI, but have you really adopted AI? You know, um, if you look at the history of computing, right, there's always been automated decisioning where you feed a system with rules. You feed the system with rules. You give it different parameters, and it makes a decision for you, right? So be it in credit, be it in account opening, be it in transaction management, a lot of spaces within the fintech sector, right? They've been done before without the use of AI. So the stage that we are now at AI is the generative AI stage. So you have the most popular trends now. You have your generative AI, you have your agentic AI, right? And generative AI is technically what is actually new, right? Well, new to most markets now, but it's been there within different contexts for some time.
Definitely.
Yeah, because we could use autocorrect in the past, right? So
It
it's
was, yeah.
been some form of it has been there, like
Yes, been
as we
there.
have been going through life. It's just not been done at this scale, at the scale that the open AIs of the world have done it. It's a huge scale because they've taken the large language models, they've put them in there, and now it's generating as much as it can. So adoption wise, I can't really put a figure because when these people say we have adopted AI, you really have to get in there and understand if what they're saying is an AI or is it just a decisioning system.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's just a decisioning solution, and it's not really thinking. It's just using parameters that are already predefined. You get it?
And, and what is your understanding of AI revolutionizing the banking sector?
Yeah, I think AI has a lot of things that it can do in the banking sector. When I talk to people, I say AI can do anything. Um, yeah. So just to be specific, what we are talking about now is unsupervised AI, right? Supervised AI, which is the one that makes up things from things. So you give it information and it transforms that information and it generates new information, right? So that has a lot of use cases within the banking sector. Lots of use cases. I think I'll give you just one. Trying to understand how much someone qualifies for in terms of a credit limit. For example, you want to offer someone a credit card. If you know how much someone is getting through their bank account over time, then you can use AI to sort of calculate how much they can qualify for in terms of credit. So that's like a banking sector solution that you have there. You can use AI to write contracts. So a lot of what banks do, a lot of what people in the bank do is do a lot of typing, do a lot of writing, a lot of
Paperwork.
documentation, a lot of paperwork. Yeah. So AI is very good at paperwork, especially if it's in a language that is already defined, like the English language. So if it's paperwork that is in the English language, AI is very good at generating that documentation. You give it a few examples of the same document. Over time, you don't even need someone to type anymore. Um, give you an example in the banking sector, um, like in the credit sector. Things like demand letter. If I'm going to send you a demand letter that your loan is overdue, okay, that doesn't need to be typed anymore. That can be generated. And the good thing about AI is that it is context away, right? Given enough information, it becomes context away. You can actually learn to say that this scenario doesn't want this type of document. This scenario demands this type of document. You get it?
So basically, what you're saying is we can feed AI with existing information within the banking sector or within a bank specific for it to learn that information and be able to produce some kind of results or do whatever we want to do with AI after
Yeah, and
like inputting that data.
it'll produce better documents. In some instances, for me, it has produced a lot of better documents. I actually used to. I mean, you've had experience with project management, right?
Definitely,
There's a big part of project management is documentation, right?
it is.
And
It's a lot that I can tell you now
yeah.
because I was doing. I was doing a quality documentation for a tender. I think some few weeks ago, and then when I realized, no man, you know what? I did this in 2015, and I couldn't sleep while I was doing this documentation. So I took all my documents as they are, and then I feed it into AI, and I say, AI, read these documents and understand them, and I want them to be applicable to this. And
To these
definitely
particulars.
it gave me better results. And I just realized I just don't want anyone to be typing my documents. AI can do the typing. So
You get it. You get it. So that's a big part of what it does. I call that cutting out the boring part of work. Work actually becomes more exciting
yeah,
with AI because the boring part was the sleepless nights of you writing out something that people are not even going to read. You get it. So
definitely.
what you just need to do is with AI, the most important thing is the training, right? these things have been trained to generate information. The generative AI, rather, it's been trained to generate generic information, right? The way it works is it looks at a word and it tries to guess the next word. You get it until it's a sentence. So it's more like just saying, okay, I have Alvin. So what could be a potential next word, right? In this particular context. Then it makes up the words until that's why you see even when you're reading your chat GPT output, it's going line by line. That's actually because
Yes.
that's how it works. It's producing the words one after another. All right. So because these things have been trained to just guess the next word, it needs an additional layer of you customizing it. You need to customize it to your taste. You customize it to your writing style, right? Because I know a lot of times people then say, okay, this was written by AI. But that's because you didn't make it sound like it was written by you. And it's very simple. Sometimes it's within the actual settings itself. Like if you go into your chat GPT, it has a section where you train it about you, what you do, who you are, how you want your documents to be written out or your outputs to come out. And you put in there there's actually a space where you just write stuff. Just go in there. And I know people know you have written with AI by looking at the EM dash. You know that dash there,
Yeah.
the
That.
copy that EM dash.
Yes.
It didn't take me a long time as I was trying out ChatGPT to understand that, okay, you can actually go into the settings and tell it to replace that EM dash with something else, like with a comma or a full stop or something.
Or
But
something.
that EM dash is an actual construct of the English language, but it has now been commoditized by AI. And surprisingly, there is quite a lot of human written text online with the EM dash. So, as I was saying, I didn't let me go back into my thought process. I was talking about how you need to train AI. So you need to
Yeah.
train your AI to actually reflect your values, your way of thinking. So if it's in a banking setup, if it's in a work setup, it actually needs to understand what kind of output your company understands, what kind of output your company is looking for, and it will do great on the general stuff. Then once you're in your prompt, that's why there was a big bubble of prompt engineering people. People say we write better prompts than you
Imagine.
and
It's
stuff. Yeah.
crazy.
But
Yeah.
now you can actually get AI to improve your prompt for you. So the workflow that you then need to have once you train it on the expected output, you now need to give it good context. Your
Mhm.
your response from AI or generative AI is just as good as your prompt. What you asked is what it gives you back. You get it.
Mm.
So if
Yeah.
you don't prompt well, then you only get poor results.
Yeah. I just want to ask you a question and follow up to what you're saying, right? Traditionally, software was developed by developers, and then you have your creative designs or your, the other team members. What do you think is what is the importance of AI department within a software development team? AI department that will do the AI part, and possibly marketers as well.
Okay. So I'll start with the AI part. I don't think you should have a particular AI department. Maybe you would have an AI department for governance purposes and compliance purposes because we have problems with people just pushing through proprietary data into a chat GPT. That has its own challenges and its own problems. So I would say the AI department will probably focus on that, but not really on usage. Usage should be at the core. The person who is solving the problem should have their own usage of AI. So the developer should be working together with AI to solve certain problems. The business analyst should be working with the AI to document, to do trivial processes. The project manager should be working with AI to do whatever it is that needs to be automated and made faster, right? The AI department probably just helps to know which AI are we using and what are the risks. How are you supposed to actually use it? More like your sensitization, getting people to understand how to use it properly, right? So I'm not a fan of having a group of people specifically sitting there and saying we are for AI. Like, what are you solving? But if it's supposed to be part of my workflow, right? And it's supposed to be there within my workflow. The marketing team on the other side, I think they are very important. And we have those as product owners, product managers. They should have a very good understanding of marketing. How so? When we are about to get into the market, we need to make up a market roadmap or a product roadmap of sorts based on the things that are most important to our market right now. And we prioritize it according to those things, right? So this needs to be done from a marketing perspective, because when you are doing your targeting, when you're doing your market targeting, that's when you know the biggest chunk. So you know your formulas. I think you might be more conversant with that. Your TAM, your TAM, your total addressable market, your SAM, your serviceable addressable, your SOM, your serviceable obtainable market, etc. You know that better as a marketing person or as a product manager or a product owner. That means you know exactly where we should start by hitting for biggest impact in terms of our bottom line. So the person to write the roadmap of a product, or the person to prioritize features that should be going out, should have a good understanding of the market. Because after all that we're doing is, at the end of the day, we should be making money. So that person knows where we are supposed to make more money and where we are going to make money first. So that's where we need that person within the software development team. They should tell us, what should we hit first? How should we hit it first? How quickly should we hit it first? And what's next?
You know what, Brian? This is quite an interesting conversation. I can go the whole day with you. Um, there's some similarities between the two of us in the way what you call how we progressed professionally. In a way, you started from software development and you went on to now adopt marketing. And I started from marketing, and then I went on to adopt tech in a way. You understand? So it's quite interesting, because we can speak the whole day. Marketing and tech is something that is of importance, and I just want to know now, how do people reach you? If they want to do business with you or they want to get in touch with you, how do they get hold of you? I think maybe your LinkedIn page.
That's the best channel. I think I definitely tell people to just reach me through my LinkedIn page. That is the fastest, easiest channel. I spend a lot of time there now, especially when I started enjoying the writing side of it. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. So it's Brian Chiware. I think it's the first one that pops up when you Google. It's just the first one. I've made sure that is the first one. I got rid of the Facebook.
I'm really sure that is the first one. Definitely. So do you have any last words or parting words before I close the episode?
I think maybe just to thank you as well. This is a very good initiative that you're pushing. It's a niche market that you are trying to get into, and that market drives quite a lot. And if people get to understand that intersection between marketing and technology, I think we'll see markets like Zimbabwe getting bigger, like the other African markets that have gotten bigger in terms of tech. So yeah,
Definitely.
just to thank you. Kudos to what you're doing.
Much appreciated, sir. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching TechMark Pod. And just to remind you, this episode has been sponsored by Simboti Digital. Simboti Digital, it's a MarTech company in Zimbabwe, which is a marketing technology company. Visit our website, simbotdigital.co.zw. I'll see you in the next episode.